Welcome to Stop Dieting and Start Living podcast. I am your coach, Natalia Rodriguez, and I will be guiding you to get in the best shape of your life for the rest of your life by combining my coaching experience with the psychology behind the human eating behaviors and some simple brain science. Get ready to be coached by me. Hello guys, and welcome to another episode. For me, this has been one of my biggest struggles when learning to eat by following my body cues. Stop eating when I have enough. I used to think that it was when I emptied my plate and some of the snacks in my pantry. Usually, my belly needed to feel very full until the point of uncomfortable. That was so comforting for me that I tried to hold on to that for many years. That is why dieting worked also well for me. I used to eat until I was super full with foods that were low calorie. That way I didn't gain weight. But so now that I eat everything, it's the reason why I gained some weight, because I never learned to follow my body cues and manage my life around all kind of food possibilities. And that is how it should be, guys. Living life, enjoying everything with moderation. But that moderation always felt somehow restricted to me. So here is what moderation really means, because after I try this, now it comes naturally from my body and it's not my mind, and that's the big difference. Many of my clients and followers commented having similar issues, and that is why today I bring up this topic. If this is helpful for you, please tag me, share it with your friends. It will help me and support me to keep this work that I'm doing. Talking a little bit about what people commented to me is that usually with dinner, they tend to overeat and clean all the food around them. It kinda feels nice, and so they keep the habit over and over, especially during relaxing times. Some other people commented that they enjoy having second portions. They feel kind of identify with this behavior and somehow make them feel proud and happy until they stop fitting in their pants and they start blaming food groups. So that is the sign that you are overeating from your mind. So also many think that this is how they are, like this is a part of you, a characteristic of your personality. But that's not true. And that is the way you struggle, right there. And then you will constantly end up eating more than your body needs, just because you think it's part of your personality to have double portions or clean your plate. Well, no, that's not true. And that's why it makes it feel so hard to lose weight at the end. And seems easier to just cut some fruits or carbs or fats, etc. And somehow I think this also impacts the way we feel about ourselves, because of course eventually when you're starting to feel like your pants are tighter, you question yourself why you cannot just stop eating, like why you don't have the willpower. And just for you to know this, it is nothing wrong with you. This is just your brain messing with you. And there is a way that you can practice to be able to eat just enough always and stop overeating over time. One of the main things is that people rush their eating. They start eating so fast, especially foods that are very tasty, until they think they cannot stop. And they overeat because these foods are very tasty. So this sends a message to the brain like it is pleasure, it's a nice moment. So you don't want to end it, right? It triggers your brain. So even when the body is sick, like very, very uncomfortable food, this reward center in your brain is dancing and having the best time. So why to stop it? And that is why, for example, Janine Roth, one of my favorite authors, says, most of us confuse mind hunger, which has nothing to do with food. So that's how you are rewarding your brain with food, but you don't need it anymore. And then you don't know how to stop it. When you are eating so compulsive, what you can do, what is happening, how to stop it. So one thing you can start trying is experimenting how quickly you eat. Are you eating too fast? That maybe you are not even paying attention to the taste of the food or on how your body is feeling bite after bite. Slowing down, it will more likely make you to listen to the feedback of your body. So speed can be one factor. I practice this on myself, and with time it gets easier and more natural. But you need practice. I know it feels boring and like a waste of time. And that is how your brain is lying to you, making you think that that's boring, that that's not good, that that is not satisfying. So put down the fork halfway. That's a good habit to practice. That allows you to be more mindful, to enjoy the food that you're actually eating. And actually, I don't know, if you eat in 3 minutes, try to make it 5 minutes. I mean, a good meal could be between 10 and 20 minutes, right? So it's not that you need hours. It's just 5 more minutes. Start with that practice, build that habit, and that will allow you to be more mindful, to enjoy the food. And you will have fewer chances to get caught in this high of your brain. Overeating can also be a habit that you've created. Chasing that fullness feeling. It's a signal that your body sends you that feels like heavy in your stomach and like stretch, like you feel a little bit bloated. And thinking back, for me, it used to be satisfactory to feel that. But in reality, when I start asking myself how that can be helpful, actually it isn't. So ask yourself why this is so comfortable. What are you getting out of this? If you don't know, I can tell you what you're getting out of that. Weight gain. Your body sent you the satisfaction signal before that point. That you didn't notice it doesn't mean you need to go beyond it. And that's why we gain weight. So you need to now intentionally pay attention to it. Explore. What is about the sensation that you're seeking out? You should be eating to eliminate hunger, right? To give your body energy, not to comfort yourself from other things like boredom or just the habit, to satisfy that habit. Most people don't notice the real fullness because they eat until the food is gone. They are busy watching TV, or they're busy talking to others, or they are eating while driving, or they are yelling at the kids from the kitchen. You are not paying attention. So how you will notice? That's why I make it hard. What I tell my clients is to sit at the table. That really helps to slow down and use all your senses to the experience of eating. This is important. Your mind and your stomach will be paying attention. So they will communicate to each other. And when you are not paying attention, you will just end up eating until the food is gone. So how you can stop without having the signal at the beginning? Something you must know is that you need to be aware that you will feel super uncomfortable, sometimes even grumpy, because you're not used to eat a little bit less, or you're not used to becoming aware. So it's a pattern that your brain already have. And changes are hard, you know this. And sometimes your brain will hack you and it will tell you, but you still have room. Why you're not eating? Why are you stopping? This is not okay. I don't feel good. That's your brain. That's just your brain. But that's not true. If you feel you put your hands in your stomach, the hunger is gone. You're already okay. So you will feel like something is wrong. You will be feeling that you are under eating and that's something wrong, but that's not true. Remember, you can always eat again or eat more when you're hungry. So if you're being hungry, that's another issue. You can eat always more. This is just a practice. Notice and take some mental notes about the feelings and sensations in your body. Is it a thought in your mind, or is it your body that is truly hungry? But the only way you will know this is by practicing and trying. You can try on every meal, every time you're hungry, it's another opportunity to try. So this is the beauty of this. You have your whole life to try this. You have plenty of opportunities. Try it and see how it works in your mind. And the beauty of this also is that after you try a couple of times, easier it gets because it feels good. It feels better than overeating. But you have to be willing to be intentional and become aware. Many, including me, I have the habit to eat without paying attention. So just eating according to the clock or to a portion that has been served by someone else. If your mom, your spouse serve you the meal, for example, and they serve you too much, you're used to eat that. So those are the things we're trying to figure out here to find your real portion. You can start also with a small plate. That's also that I encourage my clients to do. In Colombia, for example, in many countries in Europe, I've seen it, they always eat with 28 to 33 centimeters plate. That's huge plates. So you wanted to bring it down a little bit to 22 centimeters. It's like the dessert plate, not the coffee plate, it's the dessert one. So you can try that to see how it feels. You can fill that up and then you just practice. See how it feels eating that portion. Are you still really hungry, or hunger is gone and maybe it's your mind? Understand and acknowledge that it will be very uncomfortable. This is super important. That is why sitting at the table without distraction will help you to become aware, to be conscious, and start noticing that fulfillment feeling. Especially your stomach is the size of your fist, remember. So you have to start getting real with yourself. How much food are you actually eating? People understand that when they are just super full. And the hard part is stopping. So that is why all this whole ritual about food, like having a small plate, eating at the table without distraction, it's important. But there is another step that you can also use, is to clean the kitchen before you start eating. Put everything back on the fridge. And when you are eating and you stop and you feel like the plate is gone and probably that time you didn't gain this awareness, you want to go to our second serving, you will notice that probably, you're right, you didn't need more food. It happened to me sometimes when I'm trying to warm up again the food and everything. I realize after a couple of minutes that I don't need that food anymore, actually. I'm okay. So it just makes it harder. You wanted to try to make it harder. Another important thing to consider, and it's a challenge, is that when you are eating and distracted, or even distracted, perhaps at the beginning you start eating very, very fast, and somehow you slow down while you're getting fuller. And many people have some cues that they only notice when they become more aware, and it's like there is a signal for your body that is telling you also to stop, that is not just in your belly, and is perhaps slowing down. When you are able to lean back or listen more closely to what others are saying, or you grab your phone and start scrolling, that's a signal that maybe you already had enough. The problem is, because we still have food in our plate, we come back and keep eating until it's gone. So what we can do is, when you feel this signal from your body, when you start getting distracted after you start eating, that's the signal that you had enough. So maybe you don't notice it and you may think, no, but I want more. No, you don't want more. It's your mind. But if you're already distracted with something else, it's because you already had enough. So the idea with this is that you plan an activity when that happens. So when you notice that you're getting distracted, like you start eating and suddenly you start getting distracted, hey, stand up from the table, go for a walk, or read a few pages of a book. Do something fun. That way, if you want to come back to the food, because you always can, it's like now you cannot eat more. You can always come back to the food. Just notice. Then you will think, no, maybe I don't want anymore. And that will make you feel good with yourself. So I had actually noticed that I got distracted always when I feel already that I have enough. It's not the feeling of fullness. It's just that I'm not so interested in food anymore. Those signals are very sneaky. And if you're used to eating fast and get over with your food as fast as you can, pausing intentionally will help you to check up with yourself. So you create this space to understand how your body tells you that you had enough. Actually, this is a funny story. I got a cat recently and he does that. I mean, it's very funny. He eats half of the portion of the food. He goes around a little bit. He plays with us. But then he comes back to have the rest of his portion. And it was so funny. My husband was like, oh no, we have to clean the plate just after he eats. I said, no, wait a second. I noticed that he's coming back for more. And he does. So yeah, it's possible to follow your hunger cues and just eat enough. And these are kind of activities that you can make a list of them and try it. So on your next meal, for example, you can think about how you're going to practice. Like, go without any expectation, just only to try to feel instead of thinking. Notice what thoughts comes to your mind. Put the private investigator hat and get to know how your body talks to you. Understanding that how you work. The only way you can change is trying something different. So have a plan of 2-3 things that you can do when you're getting distracted while eating. Maybe you want to focus on the flavor of the food, maybe on the fullness, or if you're really hungry, and plan something intentional to do after eating, like walking the dog, play with the cat, something fun for you. Many people eat and move to the sofa when they realize that they can just not move anymore. And that's a clear signal that you overate. So have a decision before you eat if you want to create a calorie deficit or you want to go on a surplus and you want to gain weight. You have to be real with yourself. What's your intention of this food? Are you eating for what? Be conscious about your fullness. Have an intentional thought like, I have enough and I separate from the table. If you're still hungry, you can eat later so you can come back. Maybe you can enjoy a tea, go for a walk. Remember, you have to plan these activities. Make a list of things that you can do that are enjoyable. And something fun is not like cleaning the toilet or washing the dishes, because that's not fun. And it is just one meal, guys. It's not the last meal. You will have many opportunities. So understand, you have more times to eat and practice. So don't feel frustrated. If you haven't noticed any changes right away, changes require time and practice, a lot of practice. The reality is you're not paying attention, you're going to overeat. So slow it down. Check in with yourself how full you are. Have an activity to do right after you eat. Try this the next 3 meals, see how it goes, and tell me how it went. I would love to hear from you. Tag me on Instagram with the activity you're doing after your meal, maybe walking your dog, petting your cat, reading some pages, or just posting a cute picture. Let me know so I know this has been helpful to you. I believe in you. Thank you for listening, and I hope you liked this episode. And if you did, please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That will support my cause, that is to impact as many of you to stop dieting and start living. For more information, you can find the link in the episode notes. I am also very active on Instagram, where you will find tons of information. Have a great one. Lots of love. Your coach, Na.